the cryptic engraving. The walls of the ancient mansion towered over me, casting elongated shadows that seemed to dance in the moonlight. I stepped cautiously into the dimly lit foyer, my heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The air was heavy with the scent of age and secrets long forgotten. As I ventured deeper into the house, a peculiar sensation gripped me, a feeling of being watched, as if unseen eyes followed my every move. The oppressive atmosphere seemed to thicken with each step, urging me to unlock the mysteries held within. In a room adorned with dusty tapestries and moth-eaten curtains, I discovered a hidden doorway. Its entrance was adorned with cryptic engravings, a language unknown to any mortal being. Intrigued and compelled by an unknown force, I reached out to touch the ancient markings. As my fingertips brushed against the cool surface, an electric shock coursed through me, sending shivers down my spine. The engravings pulsated, illuminating the room in an eerie glow. A chill ran down my spine as the symbols seemed to shift and rearrange, forming new patterns before my eyes. Suddenly, the room transformed into a twisted labyrinth of shifting corridors. The walls appeared to breathe, as if they were alive, whispering secrets that only the shadows could comprehend. I followed the twisting paths, drawn deeper into the heart of the enigmatic maze. Each turn revealed more cryptic engravings, etched into the walls with an otherworldly precision. They seemed to tell a story, a tale of forgotten gods and forbidden knowledge. My mind struggled to grasp the meaning behind the intricate patterns, but their significance eluded me. As I pressed on, the air grew colder, and a foreboding silence settled over the labyrinth. The engravings seemed to come alive, their whispered words echoing through the corridors. I sensed an overwhelming presence, a malevolence that seeped from the very walls themselves. A cacophony of whispers swirled around me, taunting and teasing, as if the engravings reveled in their power over me. Shadows danced in the periphery of my vision, morphing into grotesque shapes that threatened to consume me. Fear tightened its grip around my heart, but curiosity pushed me forward, deeper into the abyss. At the heart of the labyrinth, I stumbled upon a chamber bathed in an ethereal glow. The engravings covered every inch of the walls, their radiance pulsating with an otherworldly energy. It was as if the engravings held the key to a forgotten realm, waiting to be unveiled. Drawing closer, I felt a surge of anticipation mixed with a primal fear. The engravings seemed to call out to me, urging me to decipher their ancient language. I could almost hear their voices, whispering secrets and promises of forbidden knowledge. With trembling hands, I traced the engravings, my fingertips following the intricate lines and curves. As I did, the chamber erupted in blinding light, engulfing me in a vortex of shimmering energy. I was transported to a realm beyond comprehension, where reality melted away, and the engravings took on a tangible form. In this realm of the engravings, I beheld the ultimate revelation, a truth so profound and horrifying that it threatened to consume my sanity. The engravings were a gateway to an ancient cosmic force, an entity that hungered for power and sought to reshape the very fabric of existence. As the truth unfurled before me, I realized the engravings were a warning, a desperate plea from those who had fallen victim to the cosmic entity's insatiable appetite. They had sacrificed their lives to etch their knowledge into the walls, hoping that someday, someone would decipher their cryptic message and find a way to stop the impending cataclysm. With this newfound understanding, I vowed to escape the realm of the engravings and share their warning with the world. But as I retraced my steps through the shifting corridors, I felt the malevolence of the cosmic entity closing in on me, its tendrils of darkness reaching out to ensnare my mind. Would I survive to reveal the cryptic engraving secrets, or would I become another victim lost to the cosmic abyss? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain: the engravings held the fate of our world in their intricate patterns, and it was up to me to unveil the truth before it was too late. The echoes of darkness. I woke up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding like a drum against my chest. It took me a moment to realize where I was. My eyes adjusted to the darkness, revealing the familiar surroundings of my bedroom. A sliver of moonlight slipped through the gaps in the curtains, casting eerie shadows across the room. Something felt off, though, as if I wasn't alone. I dismissed the feeling as mere paranoia and tried to calm myself down. Maybe it was just a nightmare, I thought. But the lingering unease refused to leave me. My curiosity got the better of me, and I reluctantly stepped out of bed. As I made my way towards the hallway, a creak echoed through the house. The sound sent shivers down my spine, and I felt a chill in the air. I stopped in my tracks, listening intently. Silence. Perhaps it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, conjuring up sounds where there were none. I continued down the hallway, each step reverberating through the quiet house. The darkness seemed to cling to the walls, making it difficult to see beyond a few feet. I reached the living room and switched on the light, flooding the room with a warm glow. It provided some comfort, but my unease lingered. I decided to investigate further, heading towards the kitchen. The sound of dripping water echoed through the empty space, creating an eerie symphony. The faucet was running, a thin stream of water cascading down the drain. I never left it like this, I was certain. Goosebumps formed on my arms as I turned it off, the silence descending once more. Just as I was about to head back to bed, a loud crash startled me. It came from upstairs. Fear gripped me, and my heart raced as I climbed the stairs, each step heavier than the last. The upstairs hallway was cloaked in darkness, save for a dim light emanating from my bedroom. As I approached, the light flickered, casting sinister shadows across the walls. A chill ran down my spine, and a voice whispered in the back of my mind, urging me to turn back. But I couldn't resist the urge to know. I pushed open the door and stepped inside, the room colder than the rest of the house. The room was shrouded in an eerie silence, broken only by the sound of my own breathing. The dim light struggled against the oppressive darkness, barely illuminating the space. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on grotesque shapes that seemed to mock me. I searched every corner of the room, my heart pounding with each step. Nothing seemed out of place until I noticed the mirror. It stood there, an ominous presence, reflecting the room's twisted reality. I hesitated, fear gnawing at the pit of my stomach. In the mirror, I saw a figure standing behind me, obscured by the darkness. My blood ran cold, and I slowly turned around. But there was nothing there. The room was empty, devoid of any sign of life. I blinked, wondering if it was just a trick of the light. As I turned back to the mirror, a faint whisper echoed through the room. It was barely audible, but it sent a shiver down my spine. "Leave," it seemed to say. The voice was chilling, filled with a sense of foreboding. But I couldn't tear my gaze away from the mirror. It held me captive, drawing me deeper into its abyss. A sudden gust of wind swept through the room, extinguishing the dim light. Darkness engulfed me, and panic took hold. I fumbled for the light switch, but my hand found nothing. The room became a black void, a terrifying abyss that threatened to consume me. In the darkness, I stumbled towards the door, desperate to escape. But as I reached for the doorknob, it moved away from my touch, as if taunting me. I felt a presence behind me, closing in with each passing second. Fear consumed me, and I screamed, my voice echoing through the darkness. Suddenly, the room was bathed in a blinding light, illuminating every corner. I squinted, my eyes adjusting to the sudden brightness. And there, standing before me, was a figure. Its features were obscured by a dark hood, but I could feel its malevolence piercing through. A bone-chilling laugh erupted from the figure, sending shivers down my spine. It circled me, its footsteps echoing through the room. I tried to move, but my legs refused to obey. I was trapped, at the mercy of this malevolent force. The figure leaned in closer, its breath cold against my skin. Its voice, filled with malice, whispered in my ear, "You should have listened. Now, there's no escape." Panic surged through me, and I closed my eyes, hoping it was just a nightmare. When I opened them again, I was back in my bed, the sun peeking through the curtains. It was morning, and everything seemed normal. I let out a sigh of relief, convinced it was all a dream. But as I got out of bed, I noticed a chilling message etched on my bedroom mirror. "Your nightmare has just begun." The words sent a shiver down my spine, and I realized that what I had experienced was far from over. Something dark had awakened within me, and it hungered for more. I was trapped in a horror beyond my wildest imagination, with no way to escape. The message on the mirror sent a surge of fear coursing through my veins. It was a chilling reminder that the nightmare I had just experienced was far from over. I stood there, frozen in place, contemplating the meaning behind those haunting words. The events of the previous night replayed in my mind like a broken record, each scene more horrifying than the last. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that an unseen presence lingered in every shadow. Determined to uncover the truth, I embarked on a quest for answers. I delved into the depths of research, scouring old books and obscure websites for any information that could shed light on the supernatural forces that had invaded my life. The more I uncovered, the more I realized that I was dealing with something beyond my comprehension. It was an ancient entity, a malevolent being that fed on fear and despair. It reveled in tormenting its victims, leaving them trapped in a never-ending cycle of horror. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I devised a plan. I sought the help of a renowned paranormal investigator, someone who had faced similar horrors and emerged victorious. Together, we would confront this malevolent force and put an end to its reign of terror. We gathered our equipment and ventured back into the darkness, guided by an unseen force that led us to the heart of the haunting. The air grew thick with anticipation as we approached the decrepit building that housed the source of the malevolence. With each step, the weight of the supernatural presence grew stronger, as if it were trying to deter us from reaching our goal. But we pressed on, fueled by determination and a burning desire to free ourselves from the clutches of this nightmare. As we entered the building, a sense of dread washed over me. The air was heavy with an otherworldly energy, and the walls seemed to pulsate with a life of their own. We descended into the depths of the building, guided by flickering lights and the whispers of unseen forces. Finally, we reached a chamber, a place of darkness where the entity lurked. It awaited our arrival, hungry for our fear. But we were prepared. We had armed ourselves with symbols of protection and incantations passed down through generations. With bated breath, we confronted the entity. It materialized before us, a twisted amalgamation of shadows and malevolence. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, its voice a cacophony of screams and whispers. But we stood our ground, refusing to succumb to its terror. As the battle raged on, we chanted ancient incantations, our voices intertwining in a symphony of defiance. The entity writhed in agony, its power waning with each passing moment. And then, with one final surge of energy, we banished it back to the darkness from whence it came. Exhausted but victorious, we emerged from the building, bathed in the light of the rising sun. The nightmare was finally over. We had conquered the unspeakable horrors that had plagued us, reclaiming our lives from the clutches of darkness. But as I looked back at the building one last time, a flicker of doubt danced in the depths of my mind. Had we truly vanquished the entity, or was it merely biding its time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain: I would never be the same again.
Gas Station Secrets, a sinister road trip. Lily always reveled in the thrill of hitting the open road, especially when traversing the captivating desert landscapes of Nevada. The sun bathed the surroundings in a mesmerizing golden hue, while a refreshing breeze blew through the open window, tousling her hair. Lily eagerly anticipated this trip, as it had been far too long since she last saw her college friends. Driving in silence beside her was Max, her boyfriend, lost in his own thoughts. Max seemed almost meditative behind the wheel, his mind wrestling with the idea of this ambitious journey. Traveling nearly 1,000 miles across 2 states to visit Lily's friends seemed like a daunting task. He couldn't help but wonder if Lily would go to such lengths for him and his own friends. The thought lingered in his mind, casting a shadow of doubt. Meanwhile, Ava, Lily's eccentric friend, peacefully dozed off in the back seat. Having attended the same school, Ava seemed content with the ride. Max found Ava's quirks a bit irritating, but Lily insisted that Ava join them, promising that Ava would contribute to the cost of gasoline. Persuaded by the financial aspect, Max reluctantly agreed. After driving for about 6 hours, dusk was approaching, and they had planned to spend the night at a motel along the way. Unfortunately, they found themselves in an area devoid of any accommodations, and the lack of internet reception made it impossible to search for alternatives. Undeterred, they continued driving, hoping to stumble upon the first available motel. Silence filled most of the journey, with soft music playing in the background. Each occupant was lost in their own thoughts. Max tried to estimate their progress, mentally measuring the distance they had covered thus far. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its final rays, the sky transformed into a stunning display of vibrant colors. The captivating sunset briefly diverted Max's attention from his frustrations and negative thoughts. However, the dwindling fuel gauge snapped Max back to reality. The needle hovered dangerously close to empty, flashing a warning in red. Lily cursed herself for not carrying a spare can of gasoline, as she hadn't anticipated such a lengthy journey. They pressed on for another 15 minutes, but the fuel gauge ultimately plummeted to 0, intensifying Max's concern that they might end up stranded in the middle of nowhere. The lack of any signs of civilization did nothing to reassure them. They needed a solution, and just as hope seemed to fade, Lily spotted a gas station sign by the roadside. It directed them to a road branching off from the main highway. Max was unsure about this detour, but with no other options in sight, he made the decision to follow the sign's direction. As they cautiously proceeded down the road, The surroundings plunged into darkness, and the need to conserve every drop of gasoline forced them to refrain from excessive acceleration. Pushing the car to a gas station was the last thing Max wanted to consider. Amidst their contemplation, Ava woke up and bombarded Max with questions about their whereabouts and the purpose of their detour. Her present and curious inquiries only served to further agitate him. Thankfully, the sight of illuminated gas station lights appeared around the corner, offering a glimmer of hope. It was an incredibly old gas station, seemingly frozen in time. Its weathered appearance suggested it had been standing for decades. They pulled into the gas station to take a break. Lily and Ava went inside to grab some water and snacks, while Max tried to figure out the old-fashioned pump system. It resembled a vintage contraption, frustrating him initially. But with determination, he managed to successfully insert the nozzle into the car. Max thought it would be wise to purchase an energy drink, realizing the girls might have overlooked it, considering the long journey ahead. As he approached the entrance, an unusual stillness surrounded him. The absence of external sounds and the hushed quality of his footsteps gave him pause, but he dismissed it as mere exhaustion. Inside the gas station, Lily and Ava perused the shelves, while Max headed to the soda refrigerator. He grabbed an energy drink and glanced around the empty store. To his surprise, there was no cashier in sight. The spotless cleanliness and meticulous organization of the place caught his attention. It was odd to witness such pristine conditions in such a remote gas station. After gathering their items, they approached the cash register. But to their confusion, there was no attendant present. They rang the bell on the counter, hoping to summon someone. The seconds ticked by in silence until finally, the backroom doors creaked open, revealing a thin middle-aged man wearing jeans and a dark hoodie. He didn't offer a greeting but stood silently behind the register, observing the group with an unwelcoming gaze. Max felt a twinge of unease under his penetrating stare. Lily politely greeted the attendant and placed their items on the counter. The attendant remained silent, mechanically scanning the purchases. Max mentioned their need for a full tank of gas, pointing towards their car through the window, as he couldn't recall the pump number. To his surprise, the attendant silently entered the gasoline amount into the receipt without even glancing back at the car. It was as if he knew exactly which pump they were using. When the total appeared on the cash register screen, Ava extended the money towards the attendant. But in an instant, Ava let out a horrified cry, recoiling in terror. Both Max and Ava were baffled by what had just occurred. The attendant stood motionless, while Ava breathed heavily, wide-eyed with fear, fixated on him. Without a moment's hesitation, Ava bolted out of the store. Shaken and bewildered, Lily followed her friend outside to find out what had transpired. Max turned to the attendant, seeking an explanation, but the man simply shrugged his shoulders. Max felt an uneasy chill run down his spine as he bid the attendant farewell and exited the store. The girls were already back in the car, and as Max listened to the sound of the gas tank filling, a sense of tranquility washed over him. Silently gazing at the gas station, he couldn't shake the feeling that there was something undeniably peculiar about it. It was as if someone had meticulously cleaned it just before their arrival. The oddity continued beyond the store, intensifying Max's curiosity. Climbing back into the car, they resumed their journey, surrounded by an eerie silence. Max decided to break the tension and asked Lily about what had happened inside the gas station. Lily assured him that Ava had simply been oversensitive due to waking up abruptly, and there was no cause for concern. Max knew it would be futile to argue, as Lily always supported her friend's perspective. Approximately 10 minutes down the road, a motel sign came into view. Max felt a wave of relief wash over him, as he envisioned himself enjoying a cold beer on the motel's terrace. But his thoughts were abruptly interrupted by Ava's chilling remark. "It's very cold," she stated, her words sounding somewhat strange, leaving Max unsure of how to respond. He found her high-pitched scream over the man's cold hands to be rather exaggerated. Glancing at Lily for support, Max noticed she intentionally avoided eye contact. Realizing that he simply wanted to reach the motel and conclude the day, Max chose not to engage further. Conveniently located by the roadside, the motel promised a swift respite from their unsettling experiences. They checked in with a drowsy receptionist, entering rooms that lacked cleanliness and were permeated with the lingering scent of dust. Exhaustion had taken its toll on them, rendering these factors inconsequential. They settled into their room, and the girls occupied the bathroom, seeking a moment of respite. Max, on the other hand, couldn't find solace in the room. Thoughts of the gas station persisted, Ava's words echoed in his mind, and a sense of unease washed over him. Tossing and turning for what felt like an eternity, he resolved that he would go mad if he didn't investigate further. Succumbing to his instincts, he quietly slipped out of the room, entered his car, and swiftly drove towards the gas station sign. As he turned onto the road leading to the gas station, Max's heart pounded in his chest. Anticipation mixed with dread, unsure of what he would find. And there it was. Standing before him was the gas station, exactly as he had seen it before. But something was terribly wrong. The description provided by the man at the motel matched this abandoned and dilapidated place. Shattered windows and sand-covered surfaces greeted him, devoid of any signs of life. A shiver ran down his spine as a sense of horror washed over him. He quickly reversed his car, his heart pounding in his chest. In the glare of the headlights, he caught a glimpse of a figure standing at the entrance of the gas station. Letting out a blood-curdling scream, Max pressed harder on the accelerator, desperate to escape. He couldn't even recall how he managed to return to the motel. Leaping out of the car, his mind raced, and he was determined to find someone and share everything he had experienced. But as he stood in the motel courtyard, he realized there were no other vehicles parked besides their own. Panic gripped Max even further. Perhaps the man at the gas station wasn't real either. Frantically, he rushed to the receptionist and demanded to be checked out immediately. Lily and Ava were taken aback by Max's sudden insistence on leaving. They began to argue, demanding an explanation for his behavior. Max, his voice raised and forcefully pushing them, insisted they depart. As they drove away, Lily grew indignant and demanded an explanation. Max made an effort to calmly explain what he had encountered, but Lily regarded him as if he had lost his mind. Deciding she had had enough for the day, Lily reclined her seat, placed her blouse under her head, and turned toward the window, intending to take a nap. Ava remained silent, staring at her hand, her fingers feeling a lingering chill. Max didn't ease up on the accelerator until dawn broke. Sleep had eluded him, haunted by the gas station and the mysteries surrounding it. Questions filled his mind, but the answers remained elusive. They should have had enough gas to last until the end of their journey, but Max couldn't shake the feeling that there was something far more sinister at play. Determined to put the ordeal behind them, they continued their drive, hoping for a more ordinary and uneventful conclusion to their trip.